When did life become so serious? When did we start treating every small mistake like a personal failure, every unread message like rejection, every awkward moment like proof that we're not enough? Somewhere between growing up and glowing up, we forgot how to laugh at ourselves. We analyze texts like detectives. We replay conversations like courtroom evidence. We curate our personalities like social media brands. And slowly, without realizing it, life stops feeling playful and starts feeling like a performance. But what if confidence isn't about becoming perfect? What if it's about becoming lighter? What if the secret to peace is not controlling everything, but giggling when things go wrong? Because here's the truth no one tells you. The people who look the most confident are not the ones who never embarrass themselves. They're the ones who survive the embarrassment and laugh anyway. And that's exactly what this book explores. Not how to become more serious, not how to hustle harder, not how to fix every flaw, but how to loosen your grip on life. And maybe, just maybe, learn how to giggle through it. Before we go deeper into the lessons, let's understand who is actually speaking to us. How to Giggle is written by Hannah Berner and Paige DeSorbo, best friends, comedians, and co-hosts of the popular podcast Giggly Squad. They're not therapists. They're not life coaches. They're two women navigating anxiety, relationships, ambition, insecurity, and choosing to laugh about it instead of hiding it. What makes them different is their tone. They don't speak like experts. They speak like your honest best friend, the one who says, "Yes, that text was embarrassing. Yes, you overthought it. And no, it's not the end of the world." Instead of telling you to fix yourself, they remind you that you're normal. In a world obsessed with self-improvement, they offer something refreshing: permission to relax, permission to be imperfect, permission to giggle at your own chaos. And that's exactly why this book connects. We live in a time where everything feels intense. We compare constantly. We overthink every message. We treat small mistakes like life-defining failures. Success feels urgent. Perfection feels expected. And because of that, we're exhausted. This book matters today because it pushes back against that pressure. It reminds us that not everything is that serious. Not every awkward moment needs analysis. Not every phase of life needs a perfect plan. In a world obsessed with productivity and image, choosing lightness is powerful. Sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is zoom out, laugh a little, and stop carrying life like it's a crisis. All right, now that we understand why this book matters, let's actually step inside it. Instead of going chapter by chapter, we're going to do something smarter. This book has many short, fun, chaotic chapters, but to truly understand it, we're going to turn them into 6 big themes. Why? Because the real power of this book isn't in isolated jokes. It's in the patterns, the mindset, the emotional shift behind the humor. So as we move forward, think of this as 6 major lessons hidden inside laughter. Let's begin with the first 3. Theme 1, the power of being Delulu, confidence before evidence. The book opens with one of its most playful but powerful ideas: being Delulu. Now, when Hannah and Paige say Delulu, they don't mean being disconnected from reality in a harmful way. They mean choosing to believe in yourself, sometimes irrationally, in a world that constantly tries to humble you. They describe this mindset almost like a survival tool. Instead of waiting for proof that you're good enough, talented enough, attractive enough, or worthy enough, you decide first. You tell yourself, "I'm hot. I'm talented. He's obsessed with me. I'm going to get that opportunity," even if there's no solid evidence yet. One recurring joke they share, especially from their podcast culture, is the idea that if a guy shows even the smallest sign of interest, the immediate internal response is, "He's obsessed with me." Now, logically, that might not be true, but emotionally, that belief shifts your behavior. Instead of spiraling, "Why hasn't he replied? Did I say something wrong? Does he like someone else?" The Delulu mindset says, "He's probably nervous. He's thinking about me. He's lucky to even text me." And suddenly your energy changes. You're not chasing, you're not begging, you're not shrinking, you're calm. That's the point. The delusion isn't about him. It's about protecting your confidence. They also talk about moments where they fully believe something would happen. A relationship working out, an opportunity landing, a dream unfolding, and it didn't. Instead of collapsing into shame, they laugh about how dramatic they were. They admit to building fantasies in their heads, planning imaginary futures, convincing themselves something was meant to be, and when it didn't work out, they chose humor over humiliation. The lesson here isn't be unrealistic. It's this: even when your delusion fails, you survive. And sometimes believing boldly, even if it doesn't materialize, helps you show up more confidently in the present. In the beginning chapters, they talk about the bits they commit to, exaggerated jokes, personalities, inside humor they double down on. Why? Because committing to the bit is committing to confidence. If you act unsure, people sense it. If you own it, even if it's silly, people accept it. They show that half of confidence is just consistency. Under all the humor, this theme says something powerful. Most insecurity comes from waiting for permission. Permission to feel worthy. Permission to feel chosen. Permission to feel successful. The Delulu mindset removes that waiting period. It says, why not believe in yourself first? And in today's world, where social media constantly shows you someone better, choosing irrational self-belief is almost rebellious. It's not about lying to yourself. It's about refusing to let doubt lead. Because sometimes the people who aren't the most qualified, they're the ones who assume they would. And that's the real power behind being a little Delulu. If Theme 1 is about confidence, Theme 2 is about what's happening underneath that confidence. Hannah and Paige talk openly about being what they call high-functioning anxious girlies. And this is important, because high-functioning anxiety doesn't look dramatic from the outside. You show up, you work hard, you reply to emails, you look put together, you post cute pictures, but internally, you are spiraling. They describe lying in bed at night and replaying conversations like a courtroom trial. Why did I say that? Was that weird? Did they think I was annoying? It could be something small, a joke that didn't land, a text that sounded too eager, a story that felt too long. And suddenly your brain creates a full narrative. They don't like me anymore. Logically, nothing happened. Emotionally, everything happened. Instead of pretending they don't do this, they admit it openly, which makes the reader feel less alone. The point isn't to eliminate anxiety. It's to stop acting like you're the only one experiencing it. They also talk about how social media intensifies anxiety. You see someone traveling, someone engaged, someone launching something, someone glowing up, and even if you were fine 5 minutes ago, now you feel behind. They explain how easy it is to curate a cool version of yourself online while privately feeling insecure. And that duality, looking confident but feeling uncertain, creates pressure. Pressure to always be interesting, always evolving, always improving. The book doesn't say delete social media. Instead, it says recognize illusion. Not everything you see is peace. Not everything you see is progress. And not everything you see requires comparison. At first glance, chapters about personal style and working out seem surface level. But underneath, they ask deeper questions. Are you dressing for yourself or for approval? Are you working out because you love your body or because you're punishing it? They admit to both. Dressing to impress. Working out of insecurity. Trying to control how they're perceived. And they gently challenge that mindset. When style becomes self-expression instead of validation, it feels lighter. When fitness becomes strength instead of shame, it feels empowering. This theme is really about one thing. You can be anxious and successful at the same time. You can look confident and still overthink. You can function well and still feel chaos internally. And there is nothing wrong with you for that. Instead of pretending to be unbothered, they normalize being bothered and laughing about it. Because when anxiety is exposed instead of hidden, it loses some of its control. And when you stop judging yourself for overthinking, you stop overthinking your overthinking. That's the quiet freedom inside this theme. Now, let's discuss theme 3, decentering men and reclaiming your energy. One of the boldest themes in How to Giggle is the idea of decentering men. But at its core, it's really about decentering external validation. Hannah and Paige talk honestly about how easy it is to build your mood around one person. One text can make your day. One delayed reply can ruin it. One compliment can boost your confidence. One cold response can destroy it. And without realizing it, your emotional stability starts depending on someone else's attention. They joke about staring at a phone, rereading a message 10 times, debating whether to add a period, remove an emoji, wait 5 minutes, or act chill. You convince yourself, I don't even care. But you care deeply. They admit to canceling plans, rearranging schedules, or pretending to be less interested, all in the name of seeming desirable. And then they question it. Why are we performing? Why are we auditioning for someone who hasn't even committed to us? The humor exposes something serious. How much energy goes into being chosen? The book reframes flirting. Instead of, how do I win him? It becomes, am I having fun? Flirting isn't meant to be a survival strategy. It's not meant to be a personality adjustment. It's supposed to be playful. When you stop treating attention like oxygen, it stops controlling you. They even talk about awkward intimacy, moments that feel embarrassing or imperfect. Instead of shame, they suggest humor, because real connection isn't flawless. It's human, and if someone makes you feel embarrassed for being human, that's information. Decentering men doesn't mean rejecting relationships. It means rejecting the idea that your worth is measured by who wants you. When you build a life filled with friendships, hobbies, goals, style, humor, your identity becomes bigger than romantic attention. And something interesting happens. When you stop chasing validation, you become naturally confident, because now, whether someone texts back or not, you're still okay. This theme isn't anti-love. It's pro-self. It's about choosing yourself first, so that love becomes an addition to your life, not the center of it. Theme 4, red flags, green flags, and protecting your peace. After talking about confidence and validation, the book shifts into something very practical: how to recognize who deserves access to you. Hannah and Paige break down red flags and green flags in both friendships and romantic relationships. But they don't approach it like a psychology lecture. They approach it from lived experience. Awkward stories, mistakes, lessons learned the hard way. And what they highlight is this: red flags are not always dramatic. Sometimes they're subtle. They talk about the friend who turns everything into competition. You share good news, and suddenly it becomes about them. You succeed, and they go quiet. You open up, and later it's used as gossip. It's not explosive. It's draining. They emphasize that real friendship feels supportive, not strategic. A green flag in friendship looks like someone who celebrates you loudly, someone who defends you when you're not present, someone who doesn't feel threatened by your growth. The book reminds us that not every long-term friendship is meant to be permanent. History alone isn't a reason to tolerate disrespect. In relationships, they call out inconsistency as a major red flag, not dramatic toxicity, but confusion, hot and cold behavior, mixed signals, feeling anxious more than secure. They joke about ignoring obvious signs because we like the vibe. But underneath the humor is a clear message. If someone makes you question your worth repeatedly, that's not chemistry. That's instability. A green flag? Peace. Consistency. Clarity. Someone whose actions match their words. This theme quietly teaches boundaries. Taking life less seriously does not mean accepting poor treatment. You can laugh at awkward moments. You can giggle at dating fails. But you don't ignore patterns that hurt you. The book encourages emotional awareness without paranoia. If someone leaves you feeling lighter, that's a good sign. If someone leaves you feeling smaller, that's information. Protecting your peace isn't dramatic. It's mature. And choosing the right people is one of the most serious decisions you'll ever make, even if you approach it with humor. Now let's jump to theme 5. Stop forcing what isn't flowing. One of the quiet but powerful themes in the book is about not forcing things, not forcing relationships, not forcing timing, not forcing versions of yourself that don't feel natural. Hannah and Paige talk about how often we try to grip life too tightly. We force conversations to work. We force friendships to stay the same. We force situationships to turn into relationships. We force ourselves to like things because they look good on paper. And most of the time, it only creates stress. They joke about trying to make it make sense with someone who clearly isn't consistent. You analyze, you rationalize, you convince yourself. He's just busy. He's bad at texting. He's scared of his feelings. Deep down, you know it feels off, but you keep pushing because you want the outcome. The book gently points out that when something is aligned, it doesn't feel like constant negotiation. It feels mutual. They also touch on forcing trends, dressing a certain way because it's popular, acting unbothered because it's cool, pretending to be chill when you're not. Try and become a version of yourself that looks good externally but feels wrong internally. And that tension is exhausting. When you stop forcing an identity, you relax into authenticity. Even in lighter chapters like Mom Math, they show how life doesn't always follow logical equations. You can do everything right and still not get the outcome you expected. And instead of spiraling, they suggest humor. Sometimes the answer isn't to push harder. It's to loosen your grip. This theme is about surrender, not in a passive way, but in a peaceful way. If you have to beg for attention, it's forced. If you have to convince someone to value you, it's forced. If you constantly feel like you're performing, it's forced. What's meant for you may still require effort, but it won't require you to abandon yourself. Taking life less seriously sometimes means accepting. Not everything is yours to chase. Not everything is yours to fix. And not everything is yours to force. And when you stop forcing, life often flows better than you expected. Theme 6. Commit to the bit. Own who you are. The final theme of the book circles back to something playful, but surprisingly powerful. Commit to the bit. Throughout the book, Hannah and Paige talk about their bits. Inside jokes, exaggerated personalities, dramatic reactions, bold statements they fully stand behind. And here's the secret. A bit is just confidence in action. When you commit to the bit, you stop half apologizing for who you are. You don't say something funny and then immediately add, "Sorry, that was weird." You don't wear something bold and then shrink in the corner. You don't share an opinion and then dilute it to make everyone comfortable. You own it. They openly embrace being dramatic, emotional, expressive. Instead of saying, "I'm too much," they lean into it. Because often what we call too much is just unfiltered personality. When you hesitate, people sense doubt. When you commit, people accept it. That's why committing to the bit works. Even when things go wrong, bad dates, awkward moments, failed manifestations, they turn it into a story. Instead of embarrassment becoming identity, it becomes content. Instead of shame, it becomes humor. That shift is powerful. Because once you can laugh at something, it no longer controls you. This theme is about self-acceptance, not polished self-love, not curated confidence. Real acceptance. You are allowed to be dramatic. You are allowed to be hopeful. You are allowed to be anxious. You are allowed to be bold. The moment you stop trying to appear cool and start being authentic, even if it's chaotic, you become magnetic. And that's how the book ends. Not with a strict formula, not with a 5-step plan, but with a reminder. Life is unpredictable. People are confusing. You will embarrass yourself. So you might as well commit to who you are and giggle through it. So after everything, the delusion, the anxiety, the red flags, the flirting, the cringe moments, the overthinking, what is this book really saying? It's saying that life is already heavy. There will always be pressure. There will always be comparison. There will always be someone doing more, earning more, glowing more. But you don't have to carry all of it. so seriously. Hannah and Paige aren't offering a perfect blueprint for success. They're offering perspective. Believe in yourself before you have proof. Normalize your anxiety instead of hiding it. Stop building your identity around who chooses you. Protect your peace. Stop forcing what doesn't flow. And above all, own who you are. The magic of this book isn't that it eliminates insecurity. It's that it makes insecurity less scary. When you can laugh at your overthinking, when you can admit you were dramatic, when you can survive embarrassment without collapsing, you become lighter. And sometimes, lightness is more powerful than control. So maybe the goal isn't to perfect your life. Maybe it's to participate in it, to text back without rewriting it 12 times, to wear the outfit because you like it, to walk away when it feels wrong, to stay when it feels peaceful, to dream a little delusionally, to commit to your bit, because at the end of the day, you will make mistakes. You will say the wrong thing. You will romanticize the wrong person. You will overthink at 2 a.m., and you will survive it. Life isn't asking you to be flawless. It's asking you to be present. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do, in a world that takes everything seriously, is to giggle anyway. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. I hope this reminded you to breathe a little lighter and laugh a little more. If you enjoyed the summary, make sure you come back for the next one. We'll keep learning, growing, and yes, giggling together. Until then, take care of yourself. Bye, and see you soon.